Hello, I'm Dave, welcome to my channel, thanks for joining me. This is the third part in an ongoing series of videos around my attempts to design and submit icons to the nounproject.com. If you've not seen the first two parts of this series, then I probably recommend you go back and have a watch of those to see my initial attempts to get some icons I've designed submitted and approved and accepted onto the site. The second part then covers, spoiler alert, that I got some icons approved. Great. So the second part then talks about my first payout, my first royalties from that. This third part, there's a few things I want to cover. Firstly, I'm going to go over my royalties that I earned in September. So that was my second full month of having icons on the site. I also want to talk about a couple of sort of opinions, I guess, sort of thoughts I've had now that it's been sort of 3 or 4 months of creating and submitting icons to the site. Some general sort of opinions and thoughts around that. So let's just jump straight into it. So the first thing we're going to look at is my royalties for September. So September 2022. If you don't remember or haven't seen the previous video, in August, I think I made something like $48, something other. I was actually expecting that to drop quite a lot in September. I didn't feel like I had quite as many new icons submitted, and we'll come back to why I thought that was going to be important. And it just didn't seem like I was getting quite as much activity. So you can actually see in your user account up here in this this menu, you can actually see the activity that your icons are getting. So here we can see I actually just had them approved yesterday evening, 24 hours ago, and I'm getting quite decent number of hits here for downloads of my various icons. A minute ago, 8 minutes ago, kind of stretches back over the last few hours, and it has done pretty consistently this sort of frequency of downloads for the last 24 hours since my latest batch got approved. But yeah, so as I say, in September it seemed like the activity was a little bit slower, and so I was kind of expecting to get less downloads, which I did. We can see here, I think in August I got a total of 1,700 downloads. Here it's 1,536, so it's not huge, not as big of a drop off as I was expecting by any means, but certainly it did dip a little bit. Again, as we saw last month, the vast majority, 2/3 of those downloads were free downloads. So the Noun Project add on a named credit onto the SVG files of those icons, which credits me and references and links back to the Noun Project. So yeah, 2/3 of those downloads were free downloads, so I didn't get anything for those. Didn't get any single purchases this month. Obviously, as you can see, that's the kind of the best earner. $1.80 per download as a single purchase. I think I had one last month, didn't get any this month, so that's a shame, but that's fine. 317 pro downloads, so that's users who have a subscription account on the website, on the Noun Project, and it kind of all gets divvied up between everyone that submits icons, and there's some sort of calculations that I went into last month, so I won't go into again. But yeah, 317 icon downloads by pro members at 12 cents per download. 131 API downloads at 1 cent per download. So in total, $39.35. So as I say, I was really expecting to see this just completely tank after the first full month. I've submitted several batches of icons during August, and they were getting approved within about 2 weeks. So yeah, it seemed to be a lot of activity, and did a lot better than I was expecting in August. And so I was really expecting to see this really nosedive way more than it has done here. I guess we've lost sort of about a fifth, which is really not bad at all. We can see if we click through here, we can see that my earnings. So in that first month, I think I earned 43 cents. When I had one icon live for one day in July, and then here you can see August's royalties, and then September's, and then payouts. So in August, the payout, which included the 43 cents or whatever it was from July, came to $48.96. September it's $39.35. So yeah, as I say, still substantially more than I was expecting. I would have been happy with something more than $10 so that I get that payout for the month. That would have been a great result. So the fact that it was 4 times that, really positive. So yes, that's kind of where things are going. That's how September went for my downloads. I guess there's a few other things that have kind of thoughts that I've had over the last couple of months of doing this. So I wanted to make sure that I kind of relay those, I guess, in this video, because hopefully it might be of use to someone else who's thinking about submitting to the Noun Project, or already is, or selling elsewhere. I don't know, selling icons elsewhere, or even just any digital products really. But yeah, a few things, a few thoughts I've had around this. So the first thing, which I noticed straight away the first time I submitted any of my icons for the moderation on the site, the first thing I thought was it was a bit strange, to be honest, that I didn't get any kind of communication or confirmation separately on the site. You know, when you're submitting icons, I won't be able to hear because I've currently maxed out my upload limit, 30-day upload limit. So you can't see the full content here, but obviously once you upload icons here on the site, you do get on the website, you get that confirmation saying that that batch of however many icons you've submitted has been successfully submitted. But what I don't like is that you don't get any kind of email confirmation. Just saying thanks, you submitted 20 icons or whatever it is. I feel like more and more I'm thinking that would be really useful, because actually I am submitting batches of anywhere between 10, 20, 30 icons at a time. As much as my 50 icons in a 30-day limit that I've currently hit here, as much as that will allow, I'm uploading every week, every couple of weeks, 10, 20 or so batches, and actually I don't have any way really of keeping track of what I've uploaded when, other than sort of working it out from the file data on my machine for the actual SVG files that I'm uploading. But as I say, more and more I'm thinking it'd be really good actually if you could get a kind of confirmation email that says, ideally with a full breakdown of what you've submitted, saying you submitted these icons on this date. Thanks very much. You don't get that. I think that's a bit of a shame. I think that would massively improve the kind of general user experience of the site if you were to get that. I doubt anyone from the Noun Project is ever going to watch this, but if you do, there's a free bit of user feedback for you there. Sort of confirmation emails of icon submissions, and photos if you're submitting photos as well. I think would be a real benefit. Excuse me. Another thing is, in the same vein, when your icons get either approved or denied, you don't get any confirmation. In fact, you don't even get a confirmation on the website itself. You get, on your dashboard, for example, there's if you've got any that are pending moderation, you'll see another link here that says 50 pending or whatever it is, and then once those pending ones have been either approved or denied, the count for how many you've had denied might go up, and then the pending will disappear from here, and that's the only way you know that your submission has been moderated. So again, I think it would be massively helpful to get an email. It doesn't have to be anything too fancy or too complicated, just an automated email once that moderation has happened to say, thanks for submitting however many icons, these many have been approved, these many have been declined, you know, go away, make some changes, try again, that kind of thing. But you don't get anything like that. So I've been checking every day when I've had pending icons. I've been just, you know, obviously it only takes 5 seconds, but checking in every day just to see whether that moderation has happened or not. And yeah, it just sort of feels like it would make it such a much nicer, much smoother experience as a creator, as someone submitting products and, you know, work to this site, to get that sort of more solid communication from the site saying, yeah, these have been moderated and this is the outcome. So that's a couple of thoughts I've had. Every time I submit a new batch, I think the same thing. Something else that's cropped up, I guess a bit more recently, is what happens if you have a batch of icons you've submitted that haven't been moderated yet, it's still pending, and then you submit more. So this happened in September for me. So I submitted some, I think a week or so, maybe sort of 10 days, maybe 2 weeks into September. I submitted a batch of, I'm not sure, you know, about 20 odd icons, maybe even more. And as I say, generally I've found that they've been moderated after about 2 weeks, thereabouts, just slightly over 2 weeks so far, almost all of my submissions. So I was expecting that by the end of September, you know, shortly before the end of September, that first batch that I submitted would get approved, and then obviously over the course of September I submitted, I think certainly one, maybe two more batches of 10, 15 or so icons. And what I wasn't sure, as the month drew on, and none of the icons were getting moderated, they're all still pending, and I just seemed to be adding to that list of pending. What I was starting to wonder was how it works in terms of if you have multiple batches of icons that you've submitted at different times, and they all go into the pending queue, as it were. What I wonder was, every time you do that, does it actually put all of your submissions into one group, and then do you kind of get bumped to the back of the queue, essentially? Because, as I say, it seemed to be taking a lot longer for the first batch of icons that I submitted in the month, in September, to get approved. And I just kind of had this feeling that maybe because I was submitting more, with those ones still pending, that maybe it's actually delaying those by submitting more. So I actually ended up tweeting the Noun Project official account on Twitter and asking that question, basically saying that, you know, I've got some icons that are pending. If I add more, does that delay all of them, or do they get kind of, you know, do they get moderated on however long it's taken to moderate at any given time, say 2 weeks? You know, this batch gets moderated after 2 weeks, this batch gets moderated after 2 weeks, or do they all get moderated 2 weeks after the final batch that I've uploaded, sort of thing? And they came back really quickly, actually. I was really impressed. They came back really quickly and said, that's not how it works. Every time you submit a batch of icons, they get added to the moderation queue, and the team of moderators work their way through that queue. So they very, very much seem to be saying, no, it doesn't cause any delay to any already pending icons if you add more. What I've found was that actually yesterday, as I say, 24 hours ago, I had 100 icons pending, some of which I'd submitted 3 or so weeks earlier, and some of which I'd submitted the day before that, and all of them got moderated yesterday. So, as I say, some of those, that was after they'd been pending for 3 weeks, some of them they'd been pending for a day or maybe 2 days, and they all got moderated at the same time. I had some denied, most of them approved. So that is a bit odd to me. That kind of seems to imply that what I was told via Twitter from the official account doesn't really seem to stack up with my experience. So moving forward, I'm going to kind of bear that in mind, and I think I might try and wait until I've got my maximum amount of submissions that I'm currently allowed, which is 50 every 30 days. So what I'm planning is to build up a batch of 50, submit that, and then I won't then submit any more. You know, I'm not able to anyway, because I can only have 50 at a time. But even if I know that that limit does change sometimes. So even if that limit were to change, I would still, I think what I'm going to do now moving forward is just make sure that I've only ever got one batch pending moderation at a time, because it does seem to delay it from my experience, despite being told the exact opposite by the Noun Project themselves. But yeah, it seems to delay it, so that's sort of a something that I'm going to bear in mind, and as I say, hopefully that might be useful to anyone else out there in a similar position. And then the final thing I guess I wanted to say really for this video was, because of these issues I've had with delays and kind of not being able to track very easily when I've submitted which icons, when they've been approved and that sort of thing, what I'm going to do for this month from October onwards is I'm going to try and track that a bit more meaningfully. I'm going to try and keep a bit of a spreadsheet of exactly which icons I submitted on what date, and then when they got approved or denied, just like kind of it feels like it's probably going to be a bit of a hassle because I'm uploading 50 or so at a time, but I do love a spreadsheet, and I just think it's really fascinating to know, to get a bit of data on that in terms of how quickly things are being moderated at any given time, and how long it's taking. I can do some experiments around whether I do actually submit multiple batches whilst there's still some pending or not, that sort of thing. So my plan is to try and keep a bit of a spreadsheet over exactly when I submit every icon I submit, and then I can track how long it takes to get moderated. So that's kind of my takeaways, I guess, my key thoughts after doing this for I guess I'm into my third full month now. October is my third full month on the site. So yeah, as I say, hopefully that's been really helpful. I'll continue doing a few more of these. I'll see how long I can be bothered to keep going for. But I'm interested to sort of see what happens with the royalties, whether it does just sort of decline, or if it does sort of ebb and flow a bit. I'll do a few more months just so there's a bit more kind of data to go on to get that information. But yeah, I think one other thing I was going to say, which I kind of hinted at earlier, I strongly suspect that when you have a batch of icons approved, that somewhere in the site, in the Noun Project site, in the search engine or whatever it is, there's some sort of algorithm that I'm pretty sure promotes newly added icons, because I've really noticed that in the immediate aftermath of having some new icons approved for the first few days, even the first couple of weeks, there's a real kind of burst of energy. As I said earlier, you can see that in the icon activity page, and we can see, I can't remember exactly which ones had been downloaded, but we can see there's been a few downloaded just whilst I've been doing this video. But I've really noticed that does tail off after a while, as I say, a few days, couple of weeks after submitting, which is particularly frustrating in September because, as I mentioned, obviously covered in some detail, there's this long delay where it seemed like every time I added a new batch of icons, it delayed the first batch of icons that I uploaded in September. So I ended up at the end of the month having very, very slow icon activity traffic, one download every couple of days, that sort of thing, because I think it had been such a long time since I'd last had a batch of icons approved. So I can't really find anything about it on their website, or I've tried looking online as well. I can't really see other people saying the same thing, but I'm fairly sure from my experience so far, I definitely seem to see a real kind of boost in activity and downloads in that initial aftermath. So again, I think if I can find a good rhythm where I'm uploading 50 or whatever it is at least every 30 days, or if that limit gets increased more often, but I think trying to kind of keep that regular upload pattern is the best way really to keep trying to get the most from this. I think you could, I'm sure I could just leave it now. I think I've got nearly 200 icons now on the site. I'm sure I could leave it and I would still occasionally get some downloads from time to time, but I really think, understandably, I think the site rewards users who are regularly submitting more and more content. So that's my plan for the time being, at least, is to just keep trying to submit as much as I can, and sort of see where we go from there. But yeah, I'll leave it there. This has already been pretty long, so yeah, I won't crack on any more than this. But yeah, as I say, I hope this is useful to someone. If you've just started submitting to the site, or if you are interested in doing that, or if you have never heard of it but you love designing icons and you've always thought about trying to sell them and get a bit of money from it. As I say, we're not talking about life-changing money here, or early retirement money by any means. Just a bit of beer money here and there, really. Especially these days, it's about one beer. But yeah, if it's of interest to you, then hopefully this has helped. And as I say, I'm going to at least do a couple more of these, so I can kind of see how the royalties kind of progress over the next few months. So yeah, I hope it's been helpful, and thanks very much. If it has, all the usual stuff, I guess, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and all that kind of jazz. Yeah, I'm still sort of finding my feet with these videos, so apologies if it's a bit rough around the edges. But yeah, if you've enjoyed it, then I'd love you to follow along for some more videos, and share with your friends if that's something you fancy doing. But yeah, thanks very much for watching, and I will see you again soon. Cheers.